Well, this is what I received. They wanted me to do an unboxing, but there's no box. So we'll take the two-wheeler and haul it around to the garage and start to prepare for a video. Welcome to ARW. I'm Harold, and today we're going to do a review of an anvil. This anvil is from Vevor, V-E-V-O-R, and I'm hoping that's the right way to say it. I think it is. They seem to be involved in everything metalworking these days, and they contacted me and wanted me to do an unboxing and a review of their vise. Well, UPS took care of the unboxing because it arrived not in a box. In fact, I got a message they'd lost the entire shipment, and then the next day it said, well, it was going to show up today, and it sure enough did. So let's take a look at what we've got here. Remember, I've never had an anvil in my entire life, okay? So there's the anvil, and this is how I received it on the porch. Of course, you've seen in the little clip I took with my cell phone, there was just the anvil and a little bit of plastic still stuck to it. I guess that's the way they packaged it. I don't know. I wasn't there for the packaging, but I've watched a few videos on anvils, and I've learned that there's a great deal to know about anvils. In fact, if you're a blacksmith type or a knife making type, you probably know all about anvils. And so it's a little stretch for me to get into it, but we're going to do it. Now there's apparently two kinds of anvils, cast iron anvils and cast steel. And I'm sure that this is a cast steel anvil, and it's supposed to be about a hardness of a 55, Rockwell 55. And so I shouldn't be afraid to go and bang the heck out of it with my ball peen hammer. And it's got a nice ring, I guess. I don't know. When I was watching other people's videos, they talked about how nice it rang and all that. One guy took a disc and he cleaned all the paint off so he could show where the inclusions were, you know, little holes in the casting that they'd filled up with body putty. Anybody that's had any kind of a machine that's cast of any kind of metal knows that it doesn't always turn out smooth as silk, and they put body putty in the holes. Supposedly the sprue was on the bottom. We'll turn it over and look at the bottom, see if there's a hint of a sprue down there. And yes, you can see where the sprue was, where they poured the hot metal into the mold. You can see little voids around whatever they packed it with, body putty or whatever. And this is common for castings. Alright. There's also a ball bearing test that you can do to prove the hardness. You drop it and it bounces back up to your hand. I don't have a ball bearing. I don't know why. I'm probably the only guy in doing machine shop videos that doesn't have a ball bearing, I guess. But why don't we test the hardness here? I've got a hardness tester that I haven't actually ever used. And this guy right here, this is a 60. And maybe this one is a 50. So we'll try them out, see which one of them bites in. This is a 55. So we'll start off with 50. You see, 50 skates. So that's not 50. Try 55. 55 feels like it's biting in. Try a 60. 60 is definitely biting in. Okay, so I'm going to have to believe them. This is a Rockwell 55 hardness. I suppose, a pretty good idea. And this little guy right here is called the hardy hole. I don't know if this hole up in the front here has a name, but one good thing about these holes is if you got someplace to bolt it down, you put a bolt through here, goes through the base, you put a bolt through there, and it goes through the base, and you can bolt it to your stump or big cabinet or whatever you got. I don't have anything to bolt it to. Let's get a piece of metal and just beat the heck out of it. What do you say? Now here's a piece of metal I found the other day. I found two of them. I know where they're from. They're from a bandsaw I had a long time ago. That was made in Kansas. It's some grain elevator or something. And this thing is hard as a diamond. I can tell you that right here and now. Because I tried drilling the other piece. I wiped out 2 drill bits and an end mill, put a 1/4-inch hole in. Yeah, it's not hurting the anvil any. I think it's moving it down a little bit. Now this would be made basically from tool steel. Now I understand back in the day when they started out making the cast iron anvils, cast iron was the most plentiful metal, and they would maybe weld a little harder metal top on the top of it. So apparently over the years that top would break up or come off and need resurfacing. Now the guys in the videos I've watched, they all come around to this sharp edge on the edge, and they take a disc sander and they clean it off, smooth it down to a nice round curve. And I might do that, but one of the things they do when they do this, they're looking at the color of the sparks, and by the sparks they're bright yellow screaming out of there. This is definitely steel. Okay. So, and it's cast steel, just like they said. Alright, it says Vevor on the front there, but it also says Axio MD30 right there. I don't think there's any writing on the other side, no. And what that means, I don't know. Who that identifies, I don't know. But we know who Vevor identifies, and that's the guys that'll sell you this anvil. Okay, like the experts, we're going to take an angle grinder and we're going to run it around the edge, and you can look at the color of the sparks and be amazed, and I'll try to make a nice smooth edge. I gotta turn the anvil around because I don't want sparks in my face. You're right. Whoop. Turn around. There goes my flashlight. Alright. There's the obligatory edge softening. I guess it feels better. I don't know, I feel like I got a little bit of a burr there. I'll have to clean that up. Real smooth instead of sharp. So that's done. I understand that that steel anvils like this, made out of tool steel, are much more desirable than cast iron anvils that tend to break up. And I'm not wanting to get involved in a anvil dispute, because apparently there's the cast iron boys and the steel boys, and they both love their own favorite kind of anvil. So guys, I didn't take sides in this. I'm just telling the story. All right, this thing is hard. I don't have a big fire over there with the coals in it and everything, and one of the billows to heat that up, so we're not going to pound on any hot metal. But I can say that it looks to me like, for my first anvil, it should do the job quite well. That's what I think. Let me get some softer metal for us to pound on. Here's a nice 1/4 bolt. Let's pound it within an inch of its life and see what we see. Whoops. Got away from me. Got away from me again. I'm glad it's not red hot. Can you imagine the trouble I would be in? That wouldn't be fun at all. Got loose again. But as you can see, I have pounded the life out of that bolt. And of course the vise got a little dirt on it, but that's all. Not vise. The anvil has got a little dirt on it. Not a vise. Alright. So, seeing that I've got my first vise ever, darn it, got my first anvil ever, I think I'll be happy with it being this size anvil, because I'm not going to start into blacksmith work. I'm probably not going to start into knife making, but I saw how incredibly handy one of these guys is for making knives. This guy shaped it out right here on top of it. He had it, you know, white hot, pounding away on it, and he turned a round piece of metal into a flat blade, and it looked really nice. You won't see that here. So anyway, down below the video, there will be a discount, I believe a 5% discount code down there. You can buy this thing for a 5% discount, which is a pretty good price, I think. When you get 5% off, take it. I do remember seeing anvils in the video before, where they were putting explosives on them and blowing them up into the sky, and the guy that blew his anvil up the highest was the winner. I don't know if I would want to be standing around anywhere near where they were doing that, because what goes up normally comes down. Can you imagine something even bigger than this falling out of the sky right on top of your head? Man, you can see them on YouTube. Look for them, blowing up anvils. I'm not sure if that's what they call it, but something like that. I imagine this one would make a nice projectile as well.